And here we are again from the Ignition Studios, Dealernews Live from the floor of AIME Expo. I'm here with the most important man in the entire universe, Jim Woodruff. Okay, maybe not the most important, but he knows the most important guy. And he also knows, more importantly, what's going on behind the scenes, the big trends. There's death, taxes, and change are pretty much everything that happens in the fixed universe. What is going on with the state of the state here in power sports?
Yeah, well, that's a big open-ended question. By the way, thanks for the compliments. Maybe my own little universe.
Yeah.
But, I think things have been a little rough this year. But when we talk to dealers that we work with throughout the country, it's not bad. I think there's a good number of folks that have had a good year. And then there's some folks that have had a horrible year and may not even be with us as dealers anymore because it was that difficult for them. So, I think that there are some economic challenges that we're working through. Not horrible, but it is slowing things down. It has impacted both new and used sales in 2025. But I'm pretty optimistic about what we see coming in 2026. One of the things that I think is interesting is in looking at the most recent data, the health of the dealer, just from a numerical perspective, is better than it was last year. And one of the key metrics that we've been watching over the last few years is dealer inventory. How much stuff do they have on hand, and how does it compare to what they've been selling? And usually we translate it into months of inventory. But dealers today, both metric and Harley-Davidson dealers, have less inventory on hand on a monthly basis and a number of months of inventory than they did at this time last year. So that's good. That means a lot of the excess inventory for side-by-sides, to a certain extent Harley-Davidsons, other product categories, has been thinned out, and that puts dealers in a much better position. So it's not completely fixed, so to speak, but it's in a much better situation than we were this time last year. And not only does that mean that dealers have been selling through stuff, but their flooring costs and some of the stresses that have been on their businesses are getting better. So I think that leads and sets us up for a nice 2026.
From that's the real number. Now, are you seeing a shift? We know those dealers that are good dealers are always going to be good dealers, but the 80-20 rule seems to be maybe it's 15 or I mean, the good guys are still the good guys, but there seems to be less of them. Is that just my myopic misperception, or?
It's probably not that much different, but on a rough percentage basis. But I think the gap is probably wider.
Okay.
Right. So you could say almost the same thing about the economy. One of the things that we've talked about in some prior discussions is how at the higher income levels of the economy, folks are doing fine. At the lower end of the economy, where even though wages have increased and all that good stuff, inflation and other things have eaten into those gains, and they're in a much weaker position. So it's almost like a tale of two consumers, and that gap is widened for various reasons. I think the same thing could be said perhaps for dealers, where it's kind of a tale of two dealers, where the strong folks are doing well and the folks that struggle are struggling, and the ratio may be approximately the same, but the gap is widened. And the folks that were struggling, again, may not have made it through 2025.
And your advice to potentially struggling dealers has always been the same: get out from under it. You can't be paying flooring on units that are not moving. You will always provide more inventory if they need it. They need to get the cash now when they can, as often as they can.
Yeah, if you're a power sports dealer or anybody selling inventory, for the most part, power sports dealers, their biggest inventory cost is units, right? The vehicles. And turning that inventory, in other words, taking the capital investment you've made and the things that you have in your store and turning that frequently so you can make money is really, really important. So if you're hanging on to stuff, not good. It's depreciating. If you have it floored or financed in some fashion, you're paying all those costs. So, inventory turns are really important. And a simple way to think of it is, I think I've shared this before, you can always find another unit, but you can't always make another dollar. So if you can turn that into cash and put that cash into something that's working for you, or in the bank if you think that you need some buffer, great, because you can always find another unit off the street, at the NPA auctions, wherever.
With the shift of HDFSI opening up, that was some operating capital that Harley needed behind the scenes. But what does that mean to us at the dealer level?
I think it's going to have little impact operationally It's more behind the scenes maneuvering that they're doing to set themselves up for the future. That's just kind of my take on it. The financing programs, the way they're underwriting it, the offerings available, flex financing, some of the new things that they've done. I think that's all going to continue on track. They'll continue to back their dealers with commercial flooring, etc. Terms may tweak a little bit, but they know that the health of the dealer is critical to them and ultimately the motor company as well. So I don't see any major changes as a result of the transaction. Will they be potentially more aggressive because of have a more guaranteed flow of funding to be able to back the loans they're making? Perhaps, so it could actually end up being more of a positive for them than we might have seen otherwise. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be, I don't see a negative impact out of that.
And then same time as that's going on, Polaris is spinning off Indian. Does Indian come in with the captive finance program and do something big like that, or do they try and keep going with legacy things as they face other challenges?
I suspect that they probably will. They've got a strong brand, strong following. They had that kind of a program in place before. How long it will take them to do that and how that fits into the overall strategy, hard to say at this point. But I think it would make a lot of sense for them to do that.
And then specifically with NPA, I got lucky enough to go see the new Kansas City facility in operation, which was awesome. What's on the horizon for NPA?
We have a number of things, irons in the fire. The Kansas City launch, which we did in the beginning of 25, was awesome. Went great. Got a great team there. Dealers have just really embraced that location, so very happy with the results. I think in the United States, we, for 2026 and going into 27, planned 2 more satellite locations, which is how our Denver locations and Portland locations got started on the East Coast. So somewhere in the upper Northeast and somewhere in the Mid-Atlantic. So we're working through the plans of the timing and getting that done. But a satellite location is where NPA leverages our parent company, Copart, and facilities that they have and buildings that they may have that they're not utilizing in regions where we need some presence. Those locations typically don't have their own live auctions. They can grow into that, but it gives us an opportunity to marshal units, process them, serve our customers better, closer to where they are, in areas where we need that. So the East Coast, we do have that plan, 2 of them coming up, and we do have some expansion that we did in Ohio as well this year. We added 5 acres of outdoor storage, I think, paved for our larger products, RV Marine, which has been a great growth segment for us. And we have the construction of our new facility in Dallas starting here in 2026. We purchased the land and are going through the planning
Dallas
process.
Is brand new as it is.
Well, it seems brand new, but we've been there for since 2017 roughly, I think. So not quite 10 years, but
I lost 10 years. But
yeah, we age quickly, don't we? Time flies. But the need for more outdoor space there is apparent. And so we have a new location selected up in the Denton area, much larger. Building will be about the same, a little bit bigger, but it's really more about reinventing the process flow in a way that's a little bit more efficient, and then have a more outdoor storage space for the larger product. Same thing in Atlanta. So we have some things underway there. Hopefully we'll be in a nice new facility in 2027. So the other thing that we're working on, which thankfully I got to spend some time with you out there, is our European plans. So don't think it's going to have much or any impact on the folks that we work with here in the U.S., but we're really excited about the opportunity to take the NPA model and adapt it to the European market. So we started that project last year, and it's been months in the making. And I'm hoping that we'll have our first facility up, running, and offering units sometime this spring.
And you've got Mark McAllister on the team to oversee that. Yeah. That's a major coup.
Super. It's been a great experience. Mark's a great guy, and I've known him for a long time. He came on board to help us, analyze the market and evaluate, is there an opportunity? What does that look like? And we found that, yes, that they really would love to have, they being dealers and other folks in Europe, would love to have an MPA-like solution. And then Mark's he's having a great time with it, I think, as well. And so he's on board with this full time, making it happen. He's going to be the guy running it.
So on a personal note, you and Mark probably got together and started the early discussions on this when you were both serving on the MIC board together. You're moving on after, 5 terms with the MIC?
Yeah. Actually, Mark and I talked about it after that.
Oh, okay.
Right? But, he yeah, again, we've known each other for a long time, all the way back to his Harley days. But that was a really tough decision for me to not run for re-election for the MIC board. So it was a decade of service. And I remember when I first started doing it, how exciting it was for me to learn what was happening at that level and to have an opportunity to have an impact of some sort on the industry beyond just what we do at NPA.
Yeah, but be careful what you ask for, because I know firsthand we leaned on you a lot. So the volunteer job that you put your hat in the ring for became pretty much a full-time job.
I think that is one of those things where, yes, be careful what you ask for. I was excited to do it. And but the good part is that so much has been accomplished in that period of time by the Motorcycle Industry Council. The first project that I did was actually before I came on as a board member, and that was helping Tim Boucher evaluate whether or not it made sense for MSC to purchase AIMExpo. So I helped with the financial modeling and the rationale, valuation calculations, those kind of things, just simply as an advisor to help the folks at the MIC at that time make the decision. And ultimately, they decided to purchase AIMExpo, and here we are today. So, we did that. We did some financial things, of course, to help make sure that we were in a good position with the debt that we used to purchase AIMExpo, et cetera, which is in a great spot right now, and all the new initiatives that we launched, and of course, Cinnamon and Crew with the Ride With Us campaign. And when we take a look at where the MIC is at today versus where we were 10 years ago, thanks to the efforts of a whole bunch of people, it's a completely different ballgame. It's been a terrific evolution, and I really enjoyed being a part of it. And I think my philosophy at this point in time is that we've got some other great folks in the industry, and they're where I was 10 years ago, and it's their opportunity now to carry the ball and do great things.
I've seen that, and I am getting very old, but I have to remind myself that people sitting in that chair don't have that benefit that you and I have had. It is their first show. This becomes the high water mark, just like when you did the valuation for the AIME Expo. Their first AIME Expo becomes what they think a trade show should be like. And I got to remember that. But it seems also that we do still have an incredible passion as an industry. We still are here, roll up our sleeves. Got harder, but we're still here because we're more dedicated as an industry probably than we've ever been.
Right.
And the MIC specifically is mirrored because we've accomplished more. We've grown the number of board members, and we're doing bigger and better things than we've ever done in the history of the association.
I agree. Well, and let's not forget my fellow board member, Robin. You've got years of service as well, and all the contributions that you've made. And I think we've both seen that passion at the MIC amongst all the board members and amongst the staff. And of course, now with Christy on board as CEO, et cetera, she's carrying that ball forward and taking it even further. So, when you've got leadership in the industry sharing that same passion, it's not just numbers for them. Yes, business is important and all that good stuff, but we're doing it because we're all enthusiasts in some fashion. And we're serving enthusiasts that love the products that we make or sell. And, it's really, really cool to see that dynamic in play.
Jim, thank you for your dedication and commitment to our industry. Thank you for 10 years of MIC service. And I'm looking forward to bigger and better things to come, including NPA Europe.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Really a pleasure as always. And we've just got a tremendous amount of wonderful things happening in the industry, and I can't wait for what's next.